Hey friends, on this video today, I'm so excited to get to talk to you about one of the things that I'm most passionate about, which is personal branding. So if you wonder, what is it? Do I need one? Do I already have one? How do I get one? Stay tuned because that's what we're talking about today. Okay, personal branding. So Jeff Bezos, if you know who he is, he's the founder of the great Amazon. He says that your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. I'm just going to let that sit for a second. Rory Vaden, who is a marketing guru, describes your personal brand as the digitization of your reputation. That one to me is exceptionally powerful because I think most everybody cares about their reputation. If you don't, you should. But both of those statements lead me to believe that everybody has a personal brand. If you think you don't, Google yourself and see what comes up. Most people's social media will come up right away when they open a Google search on themselves. And for me, I have a whole list of things like my website, my YouTube, my social media, my Pinterest, all the things. If you have a traditional job and you're on your job's website, you may come up in that vein as well. So that's one way that people know who you are and what you do. That is your personal brand. Okay, so now that we've established what it is and that everybody has one, and if it's not in the digital space, you still have a personal brand. Let's talk about that for a second, because if you have relationships with humans, your reputation is your brand. Who you are, what you stand for, personal brand. So why does it matter? That is a good question. So I want to clarify that a personal brand is so much more than your colors and your logo and whether or not you have a website. I think that's for some of us the overwhelming part, but for others that's the fun stuff. That for me that's fun, but it's so much more than that. And so personal brand is how people decide whether or not they want to associate with you or whether or not they want to work with you. If it's in an employer-employee or contractor-employer situation, your personal brand says a lot about who you are and whether or not someone wants to align themselves with you. More and more now, you'll see if you're applying for a job, people want your social media accounts listed on your job application because they're going to go check you out and see who you are when you're not at work, because who you are as an employee or a contractor of a business or a contractor that a business aligns themselves with can have a ripple effect on them. And they want to make sure that you're above board and that you're not one person in this part of your life and a completely other person in this part of your life. Are you congruent or coherent in who you present yourself to be? The gig economy, y'all. Let's talk about that for a second. So more and more, have you heard about the Great Resignation, I think is what they're calling it? More and more people are not wanting to have traditional full-time jobs. They want, I think 2020 kind of ruined it for everybody. We got used to being at home and being the master of our own time and where we work and how we work. And so it's getting more and more attractive to people to not have traditional full-time jobs. They want to be the master of their own schedules and they want to love what they do. And so the gig economy in 2022, this number blows my mind. There were 57.3 million people who were part of the gig economy in 2022. And that could be a part-time or a full-time role, right? Or a contractor or a side hustle. By 2027, that number is expected to go up to 87.6 million people will be part of the gig economy by 2027. That number is staggering. It's a little bit mind-blowing to me. And so if you are one of those people who care about being part of the gig economy, your personal brand that's super going to matter. And so I want to take just a minute and give you 4 quick tips on ways that you can make sure that your personal brand is where it needs to be for you to portray the person or the digitization of your reputation that you want to put out to the world. Okay, so number 1, especially on your social media, take an inventory. Do a little cleanup if you need to. I know that some of us tend to be on the more edgy side of things, of discussions and the ways that we think about politics and moral values and human rights, etc., etc. Be sure that you're posting things that are in line with your brand, that you are okay with being out into the world attached to you. Okay, and remember, it's not just your friends, if your profile is public, that is going to be affected by that. Okay, so do a little cleanup if you need to. Make sure what you're posting, be wise. Can I just say that? Be wise. How do you know if you're posting the right things? Well, brand pillars is what I call them. Another terminology would be brand values. So if you can sit down with a piece of paper and pen or a note, if you're more on the digital side of things, and create 3 to 5 brand pillars or values, things that matter to you, that if you said, tell me about Joe, tell me about Sue, someone who knows you well would say, oh, Joe stands for this, 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 and this. Or Sue, these 3 things really matter to her. For me, it is my faith, my family, my business, and a lot of times you'll see me posting about my puppies. So those are the things that you typically are going to see on my social media or other outlets that I post on. So those are my brand pillars. All right. So 3 to 5 brand pillars. You don't need more than that. And it doesn't mean that you have to post about those all the time, but that's the majority of things that people will see when they stumble across your social media or do a deep dive into you. And then the next thing is make sure that you have a very clear profile description. Okay. Just take a little bit of an inventory. All right. You need to make sure that your I help or I am statement describing who you are is up to date. It's clear. It's not nebulous. It gives people a good idea of who they're going to be working with should you have a business and they be looking at you as somebody to align themselves with. Okay. And then last but not least, make sure you keep it updated, you guys. If you have old profile statements, or you have pinned posts that are 4 years old, or your profile picture hasn't been updated since you got married, make sure that your things are updated. Replace things as they get old. Do a little refresh. Okay? If you have a business and you change direction a little bit, make sure that all of the things follow that direction. Do kind of a broad swath and make sure that you are aligned in every outlet that you have in the digital space so that people aren't looking at Pinterest that you haven't posted on in 5 years. And so everything there is old, and maybe you were with a network marketing company that you're no longer with, or maybe you have changed the direction of your business. You want to make sure that everything's up to date. And it's okay when things get out of date to delete those things. Just get rid of them. Pinned posts. I'm just going to talk about that for 1 second. So most social media outlets these days have a way that you can pin a post. So that's the first thing that people see when they come across your profile. Okay. Make sure that you are pinning posts that are applicable and are updated as needed. Okay. Don't have something that sits there for 2 years and is not even the same. If you have a pinned post that is an introduction of you, that talks about your kids being in elementary school, and that was 5 years ago, and your kid stumbles across and like, I'm in middle school, and Mom, what are you talking about? Or, just make sure that things are updated. If you weren't married, but now you are married and have babies, update that. Make sure that people get a clear picture of who you are. today when they look at all of your profile stuff. So this has been just a quick, let's just scratch the surface of what a personal brand is, what it could be, and what yours should look like. Remember, everybody has one. If you would like some help with yours, I have a great download for you this week. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll be in the description there, so you can grab it. And it is the personal branding do's and don'ts if you have a small business. So I hope that that'll be valuable to you. I hope you found value in this video. And if you did, would you please just take a second and click the subscribe button if you haven't already? And if you know somebody who has personal branding questions, or maybe they should have personal branding questions, will you just share this video? That would be so great. It would mean a lot to me. I hope you have a great week, and I hope that you found value here and that you'll keep coming back. We have a new video every single week. Have a great day.